Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I'm your host, Hery Acosta. And a big congrats to the future Mr. and Mrs. Haliburton. Tyrese officially is engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Jay Jones. He proposed at Iowa State, where they met. They've been together since then. We've seen multiple Instagram photos, TikTok videos of them together. Very happy couple. Goes to all his games. She's always pretty much in that front row, close to John. But a huge congratulations to them. Haliburton needed something good. After losing that finals game and the injury, this is the best thing that could happen. Very interesting to see him go down that one knee on his hurt Achilles, but he's looks like he's doing better. So that's very good to see, very good to hear. Very happy for him, very happy for Jade as well. Very down to earth people, but so it's good to have some bright out off the court news that we really like. But like I said, congrats to both of them. Now we're gonna go actually talk about a little bit of basketball. The power rankings. Indy Star dropped a power ranking for the Eastern Conference, and the Pacers are currently in 7th, which is not the worst. It's honestly probably where I figured we would be. Now the teams ahead of us are the Knicks, the Cavs, the Magic, Pistons, Bucks, and Hawks. Atlanta obviously has not been a playoff team for a few years, and when they have, it's been low seed. But they have added Porzingis, they have added Nickeil Alexander-Walker, traded away Georges Niang. They did lose Karis LeVert and Terrence Mann, but LeVert was more of a role player for that team, and Mann was kind of more of garbage time. But the team did improve. I will give them that. They did lose Capella, but Capella's been on the trade block for a while, so that one wasn't as shocking. But we are ahead of the Celtics, and now that is understandable, as the Celtics gave up 2 key pieces of their championship and lost Tatum for the season. They also lost their backup center in Luke Cornett, who we all know is a very good offensive rebounder and someone you would want on your team. So, honestly, 7th in the power rankings is not bad for Indiana. I mean, we would be probably second or third if Haliburton was healthy. But we got to live with what we got. And what we got right now is supposedly the 7th seed in the power rankings. Now, I can see, obviously, the power rankings change pretty much every day. And this is just a preseason power ranking, so it's nothing to really look at and be like, oh, that's crazy. They're underestimating us. Oh, they're overestimating us. Nope. They just analyze the rosters, analyze the situations, pretty much just putting 2 and 2 together, and they're like, okay, right now the 7th best situation in the East is the Pacers. So that could be worse. It could be a lot worse. We could be down there with the Hornets and the Wizards, and very glad we're not. But we'll take it. We'll take it for now. We talked about Enrique Freeman on yesterday's episode. Just some comments that General Manager Chad Buchanan made. He did say that Enrique Freeman will work to be an NBA-ready player. He is a decent player. He is someone who hasn't really gotten the chance to really show what he's worth for who he is in the league. Now, in the G League, he was a double-double threat, and that seems to happen a lot with the two-way players. They don't really find their fitting in the NBA, go down to the G League and absolutely dominate between Quentin Jackson and Ray J. Dennis and Enrique Freeman. They were all putting up some crazy numbers down in the G League. Back when Oscar Tshiebwe was on the Pacers team for a two-way deal, he was putting up like 20 to 25 rebounds pretty much whenever he wanted to. I got to cover a Mad Ants game. Wasn't this previous season, but it was the Oscar Tshiebwe season, and that was when they had Elfrid Payton on the Mad Ants, and Payton had a triple-double that game, and Tshiebwe had over 20 rebounds, and they won. They beat the Delaware Bluecoats in that game. Also had some pretty decent two-way players, but no props. I think Freeman could find himself on a contract. I think any team would either use a two-way. Any team that has a two-way spot left could probably pick him up, or just see what happens by the beginning of the season. If he's unsigned, I'd be a little shocked because he is a young guy, some guy that can get you some minutes on the bench. Isn't really a starting role player yet. We never know. He could come back to the Pacers, so that's always something to look at. Now, last thing I want to talk about is something I did talk about yesterday, but it really does look like Bryant is joining Panathinaikos in Greece. Now, the reason I kind of want to talk about this a little bit more is just because it's very interesting to see Thomas Bryant go from getting minutes in the NBA Finals to going overseas just like that. And it's been weird because I've been trying to monitor where Thomas Bryant could end up, because Thomas Bryant is an NBA player. Like, he belongs in the league. He is a good player. He could start on some lower teams, and he's a great backup for many teams as well. Now, he wasn't really playing many minutes at least back in Denver. He wasn't. He was playing in LA, kind of on and off in Washington. Miami also really on and off, but he was a big piece in Indiana, whether people like him or not. He held his own. He brought heart. He brought passion, desire to this team. Very good in the locker room. Someone you would want on this team. Always had his teammates' backs. Whenever he wanted to, he could just start popping threes whenever. Bodied centers in the paint. So he is someone that will be back in the NBA, even if it's in the middle of the season. We saw, I know Lonnie Walker did it last year, where he went unsigned in free agency, went overseas, played good overseas, and got right back to the Sixers. We saw a player like Guersan Yabusele play 4 years overseas, have a crazy outing in the Olympics, went to the Sixers, now he's on the Knicks. But a lot of players do start overseas, and then when NBA looks and they're like, oh, yeah, no, he could still play. Let's offer him a contract. And while the season progresses, while there's more injuries, while there's more trades, players get released, players get signed, teams are going to look at Thomas Bryant, especially if any team starts lacking center depth, because they know he's valuable, they know he's reliable, they know he can step in whenever he's needed. He started a few games here in Indy whenever Miles Turner was out. So that's going to be something to look at, and obviously, as the time goes, if there's any more news about Thomas Bryant, I will talk about it, just because I am a Thomas Bryant fan. So that is something to talk about definitely later. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go Sirs.